Okay, so we hear a lot about nervous system regulation and doing the shadow work and needing to get these like pillars in place before we develop spiritually. This is why I'm going to explain to you in this video why. So this is the problem, and this is no judgment to any of those people or practices, but we have a lot of like gateway tools into spirituality. So we have things like yoga, things like Reiki that are all like kind of basic things that we can get started on that are relatively low cost to start our spiritual journeys. But the problem with these spaces is that, and in some cases I'm sure they are, people aren't teaching about the need for shadow work and the need for somatics to regulate the nervous system before we start working with our guides, before we start connecting to things, before we start doing energy healing. We need to have the basics in place. And the reason for this is that if we don't do the shadow work and we don't do the trauma healing, those wounds will be in our energetic field. So not only are we going to attract to us people in our reality that show us those wounds and show us what we need to work on, but we're also going to attract those energies. So if we go into these spaces without healing those wounds that exist in our energetic field, we're going to be connecting to things that are energetically a match for the darkness inside us. So this is where we start to see people experiencing distortion, false guides, energetic influence coming into their field, because they're going into these spaces where it's like triggering awakenings, or they're being guided into spaces to connect to their intuition or to their guides. But because there's so much distortion in their field, the source light can't come through. The true divinity can't come through because the wounds are there, and the wounds are like blocks. So this is why we need to start with shadow work and somatic work. And when we do that work, what happens is the channel starts to clear. The psychic gifts come online. The psychic gifts come, the messages come, the divinity, the connection to the divinity comes, the gifts come, your gifts amplify, your magic amplifies when we naturally do the shadow work and the somatic work. We don't need to actually do anything. And I've seen this happen time and time again with clients where we've started with the basics. So I work with 3 archetypes that we move through in my one-to-one spaces: the pleasure queen, the shadow queen, and the quantum queen. So the pleasure queen is all about getting those like nourishment, well-being, self-devotional practices in place, which, you know, you're getting the roots of the tree in the earth, right? With those things, getting the roots in, getting the nourishment. We then move into shadow queen, which is where we do this deep shadow work. We look at the subconscious, we look at the shadows, we look at the darkness that exists within, we look at the wounds that are clogging up the channel, and we do the somatic work to regulate the nervous system and to truly heal trauma at root cause. Then we move into quantum queen. And what I find for all of my clients is the quantum queen phase, which is when you are your most magical, the most potent, working with the quantum field, manifesting, channeling, being the guide, being the oracle. This naturally comes when we work through the first 2 stages. So this is why the nervous system regulation is important, the shadow work is important, because it is so foundational. And when we do this work, the psychic gifts naturally come online. But how many courses do we see out there teaching, like, come and do Reiki level 1, come and do Reiki level 2, come and connect your guides, come and do this and that and do this and that, without healing the trauma? This is causing massive, massive fuckery in the spiritual community right now. And based on my own experience of this and where I failed in this as well, I failed in this. And this is also why I'm so passionate about this, because I've had to learn this the hard way. If I could go back to that version of myself, this like about to click buy on the first Reiki certification, I would have stopped her and I would have found her a coach to do shadow work, to heal the trauma, and then told her that her spiritual gifts would naturally come as a result of that. And she might not believe me. She might not believe me because she probably didn't feel like she was the authority at that point in time, and felt like she needed to have the exciting activation or be attuned and, you know, this magic to just come from nowhere. But it comes from those foundational practices. And then absolute magic is possible for you. I've seen this time and time and time again with every single one of my clients. So this is the reason why. And if you want me to go any deeper into this, I can do more videos on this, because as you can tell, this is a topic I'm very passionate about. Any questions, just let me know.